Hey there everybody, this is Brett with another G.I. Joe Real American Hero comic book review of number 36. And there it is. The cover does the story good. I mean, this scene does happen in the comic. You know, two rattlers going up against the asp. Going up against the whale. Really nice cover. Once again, Cutter, Doc are out at sea with the USS Jane. And all of a sudden, Tripwire sees something on the starboard. It happens to be 4 missiles. Cutter hits the defenses. We've just washed out the Gatling gun. And then 20 miles away, the whale with snow job and torpedo go up against a nest of cobras on a small little island. And then you see the romantic date between Snake Eyes and Scarlet. And 4 Crimson Guards just happened to be on the same ferry, and they just happened to see Scarlet. And they decided to kidnap her. At the same moment, Cutter, Deep Six, Doc, Tripwire, and get hit by a missile on the USS Jane. And Doc and Tripwire go and try to take out the fire. Cutter's doing the steering. At that same time, the whale is going up against the apps on a nice little small island. And then at the ferry, Scarlet gets attempted to be kidnapped. Then Snake Eyes shows up. And Fred takes out one of his guys. 2 rattlers go flying over the Jane. Tripwire and Doc are still putting out the fire. And then Deep Six goes after the thing in the crate. And the whale goes inside the little lagoon. Turns around. Now they're behind the asp again. And during the an attack on the ferry happens. Snake Eye takes out Fred, so he thinks. Here, Deep Six opens up the crate. Doc and Tripwire can't put out the fire. And again, back at the Cobra little lagoon. They're jumping in and out of the lagoon, confusing the Cobra officer. Whale blows up a little hydrofoil. I think it's called a Stingray, I believe. Back at the ferry, Snake Eye takes out one of the guys. Scarlet does the other. Fred just happens to get the drop on him. Turns out the light, so he has infrared. Cutter uses the I don't know what that thing is called. But he takes out one of the rattlers. And then the whale goes up against the last stingray. And then in the middle of in the dark, somehow they miss each other. And then Snake Eyes holds Fred out over the water. And back over at the ferry. They're trying to get the Gatling gun up and working. D6 is alive. Doc holds up the Gatling gun. And here comes the whale. And then goes through the back door. Blows up the asps at the same time. Fred takes off his, pulls off Snake Eyes' mask, gets scared to death. And I got a spare mask in my purse. And that's it of Fred. The second Fred. And then the Rattler goes up against Doc and Tripwire. Destroys the seaplane, the Sea Rattler. The whale leaves, destroying all the instruments, all the asps and stuff. And the USS Jane sinks. And then they pick up Deep Six, Tripwire, Doc and Cutter. And they get picked up by the USS Flag. Alright, that's the story. Now here's the review. Not a bad story. I like it. The one thing I do not understand is how 4 people can run a frigate that big. I didn't think you could do that, but in G.I. Joe you can. I like the use of this. You get to see the armaments of Cobra. I like this. They use this as a backstory in future issues. As you notice in, I think, 26, 27, I think, or 25, 26, 27, they use the ferry as a backstory to, that's their romantic date that Scarlet and Snake Eyes has. Back when they first trained in G.I. Joe. And then hopping around and all this stuff with the whale, pretty cool. Yeah, everything's doable. The only thing I have a problem with this story is 4 people running a frigate that big. That's the only thing I have, an issue with this. You can see he's getting frustrated. And then you see Deep Six. He's always getting injured. He's always getting wounded. So, this also I have a little bit of an issue with. Doc and, I will not do no harm. And yet he's holding up a Gatling gun. Yeah, I don't know about that one. And I like this here, where they think they've won, but actually G.I. Joe lost. Because they didn't investigate afterwards. They didn't capture anybody. They just destroyed equipment and moved on. So, yeah. And then you see the USS Flag, which I think that's kind of cool. So I like this story. Like it a lot. It leads to bigger things. So, yeah. That's it for now. I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I just like it because you get to see different equipment from Cobra. A seaplane, you know, Cobra Rattlers in the seaplane mode, which I wish they would have done in the action figure. Plus, you get to see Stingrays. I think that's what they're called, so don't quote me on that. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the channel. Let me know what you think of the comic book. Let me hear what you have to say. I like reading your comments. And those who have subscribed, thank you very much. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do. I like doing these. So, but I also like reading your comments. So, without further ado, I'll sign off. Until next time, take it easy, stay out of trouble. Bye.